going out in some areas of Fulton. The reason why might surprise you.
The heat is taking a toll on everyone and everything, including your poor, overworked air conditioner.
And deaths from gunshot wounds are on the rise, but gun availability might not be the only reason behind it. KOMU 8 News at 6 starts now.
A new study shows the more people are dying from gunshot wounds despite help from modern medicine. Good evening, I'm Jacob Jones.
And I'm Brittany Pieper. The study found these fatal gunshot wounds are at a 10-year high. KOMU 8's Adam Pressler is here to tell us if this data holds true locally.
With the Orlando shooting fanning flames on the gun control debate, the study found that more people are dying from their gunshot wounds now compared to the previous 10 years. One expert told me you have to look inside the gun to find the problem. The American Medical Association found that gunshot wounds have become increasingly fatal. But does that trend represent fatal gunshot wounds in mid-Missouri? One local emergency room doctor says no.
Over the last year, I haven't really noticed any increase in the area of gunshot wounds or pistol wounds.
Beckett says that trend holds true for larger-sized guns.
I haven't seen any large caliber assault rifle type injuries. Most of the ones I've seen over the last year have been smaller pistol wounds.
A local gun expert says it's not about the guns, it's about the bullets.
Calibers have all been around for pretty much ever. It's just the bullet technology is so much better. They're making a lot of it lighter and faster, so it expands better.
What this means is simple. Handguns and pistols can do just as much damage as an assault rifle or hunting rifle.
The bullet manufacturers or the ammo manufacturers are making defense ammo for the .22 Magnum, and it'll do as much damage as this .45 will. It's just all in bullet technology.
I spoke with another MU health official who told me that while severity of gunshot wounds is not an issue, the emergency room has seen high numbers of gunshot wounds in total.
A Columbia man is in custody for having hundreds of files of child pornography. Officers arrested Daniel Rowe and say during a search of his computers, hundreds of images portraying sexual molestation of children were recovered. Officials estimate he had up to 200 gigabytes of child porn. A Mexico man is in custody for drug possession today. 24-year-old Zachary Collins was arrested for possession of several drugs. Late last night, officials served a search warrant on the 300 block of North Missouri Street in Mexico. Collins was arrested for possession of marijuana, hashish oil, and drug paraphernalia.
The smell of gas served as a warning to people downtown this morning. The fire department responded to a gas leak on Elm Street a little after 10 a.m. Construction workers hit a 2-inch natural gas line beneath the Brookside construction site on the corner of Elm and 9th Streets. The leak led to a mandatory evacuation at several nearby buildings on campus. Columbia officials blocked off the street for about an hour while electrical workers shut down the power line and fixed the leak. The evacuation and street closings end at about 11:15.
Birds in Columbia are the cause of recent power outages in Fulton. Vultures around the Columbia landfill have been flying into power lines, causing short power outages. The lines run near the landfill in Columbia and go to Fulton. A worker at the landfill says some of the trees where the birds were gathering have been removed in an effort to discourage the vultures from staying near the landfill. The landfill is working with the city of Fulton to combat the issue.
With record-breaking temperatures this week, many Columbia residents are having trouble with their air conditioners. KOMU 8's Courtney Lewis is live outside to tell us how to make sure our conditioners are working properly. Courtney?
I'm standing outside in this 90-degree weather, which is how some residents' home were feeling today. I spoke with Jerry Hall, the general manager of Master Tech Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. He told me that some air conditioning units like this one are having to work a lot harder or breaking down because of the heat. One resident said he had trouble with his air conditioning for 4 weeks, but this week has been the worst. But Hall wants to remind people that the air conditioning systems are designed to cool about 20 degrees.
It's really hot. It's not running. The AC is running, but obviously there's not enough freon, so it's not cooling the house fast enough. So it's stay 80, 85. Wow. Even like at 8 o'clock, it's 80 degrees.
If the system is doing that, it's doing all it can, and sometimes just with the heat, it just can't keep up. It's just so hot. So.
That air conditioning filters need to be replaced every 3 months, and he said that the outside can be cleaned with a water hose. And he also said if the problem gets worse, to call out a heating and cooling company. Courtney Lewis, KOMU 8 News, Columbia.
Vendors are trying to stay cool at this year's Hit the Bricks Fulton Street Fair. Several vendors brought their own personal coolers and fans, and the chairman for the fair says the First Presbyterian Church is providing a cooling station with ice water, fans, and shade. The chairman for the church's outreach committee says they're excited to be a part of the event for the first time this year.
And I think our interest was to just come out and be a presence in the community.
They had the idea of doing the cooling station. They just wanted to be a part of this great community event, and they felt like that was one way they could give back to the community by providing this area for people to cool off.
There will also be first aid personnel on site to assist anyone in need. The fair will end tomorrow night with a fireworks show at 10. And anyone who does want to head out to the fair or has any other outdoor plans, they are going to have to deal with the heat, but at least it's a little less humid today. Let's send it over to Tori to see what our weekend weather looks like.
Thanks a lot, Brittany. Luckily, we were a little bit less on the muggy side today, but we're still holding on to those fairly warm temperatures out there. We're into the upper 80s from Macon, Moberly, Columbia, and Jefferson City. Areas off to the west still hanging well into the lower 90s at this point. But the good news is we are a good 8 to 10 degrees cooler than we were just 24 hours ago. And waking up on Saturday morning, things are going to feel pretty great for us. We're going to hang on to those clear skies. That's going to allow temperatures to drop back into the middle 60s to start off our Saturday morning. But we do have a little bit of a warm up on the way for our Father's Day weekend. I'll have a look at that and when our next rain chance is. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
If you're heading out into St. Louis this Father's Day weekend, you'll probably have to add some time to your trip.
And following the shooting in Orlando, St. Louis City Hall is flying a different flag honoring the Pride Week. That's later in the show.
Welcome back to KOMU 8 News at 6. We're taking a beautiful live look over the Lake of the Ozarks. Lots of people out and about on the lake.
All right, so people are going to need it for a while.
Right, and it's not going to be too bad of a Father's Day weekend, so that's some good news.
All right, thanks, Tori. Here's what's happening right now. There are wildfires sweeping across the nation's southwest, burning parts of Arizona, New Mexico, and Southern California. That, combined with strong winds, is creating amazing but dangerous conditions. Take a look at this video from Santa Barbara. It's the fire NATO. Authorities say the swirling winds caused the wildfire to act like a tornado. It's crazy. The blazes have burned tens of thousands of acres of land and caused people living in the area to evacuate.
If you're heading east this Father's Day weekend, you might want to add some time to your trip.
The highway closing that could cause problems after the break. St. Louis City Hall will become one of the few in the nation to fly the transgender flag during a ceremony next week. Officials with Promo and Metro Trans Umbrella Group announced Friday that the transgender flag will be raised Monday morning. A spokeswoman for Promo says the transgender flag will fly during St. Louis Pride Festival week. Security is expected to be high in St. Louis next week in the wake of the Orlando shooting.
Federal authorities have charged a Chinese citizen in connection with a software piracy case filed in Kansas City. Wen Tao Liu is accused of trafficking in counterfeit computer software products and access codes. He faces charges including conspiracy to commit wire fraud and trafficking in illicit labels. Prosecutors accuse him of serving as a primary source for unauthorized computer software products obtained in China and sold in the U.S. since at least 2010.
Anyone who plans to take Interstate 44 through St. Louis this weekend might want to consider an alternate route. MoDOT says all lanes of the interstate between South Jefferson and South Vandeventer will close from 8 tonight until 5 a.m. Monday. MoDOT officials urge drivers to consider taking other roads or highways. People heading downtown, including to Cardinals games, might also want to consider taking the MetroLink light rail.
A 2-year-old girl died today after she was found unconscious in a pool yesterday afternoon in Pulaski County. Paramedics responded to a possible drowning and they tried to revive the toddler. She was then taken to General Leonard Wood Army Community Hospital. A short time later, the toddler was flown to a children's hospital where she died this morning. Officials say the toddler was left unattended and climbed into the pool.
The Food Bank of Central and Northeast Missouri wants people to know about its new VIP Veteran Pack. Boone County has about 650 veterans who live at or below the poverty line, and the food bank estimates it already feeds 300 vets every month. The pack includes ready-to-eat foods like protein bars, canned fruit, and beef jerky. The food bank's director says they carefully pack each box for veterans.
They contain a number of entrees and protein items, items that require very little in terms of preparation, so very easy for them to be able to acquire and then very quickly have a meal.
For more information on the veteran packs or where you can donate, visit our website, KOMU.com.
Starting next week, the City of Columbia will perform smoke testing of sewer lines in Flat Branch and Country House Flat Branch water basin. The water from different sources enters the sewer system. It can cause sanitary sewer backups. The smoke that will be used is non-toxic, harmless, and no odor and creates no fire hazards. The testing will last until the end of July.
The precautionary boil advisory for Thornbrook and Steeplechase subdivisions has been extended through Monday. Columbia Water and Light asks people to schedule watering your lawns if you live in Bradbury Estates, Creek's Edge, Thornbrook, Steeplechase, or Wyndham Ridge subdivisions so the water pressure can stay up. The Department of Natural Resources rules water utilities require a boil advisory be called when pressure drops below 20 psi.
The legacy of Coach Pete Adkins continues to live on. Sports is next.
Now from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports.
That's all for sports.
All right, thanks. A soldier remains have made it back to his hometown.
The thing is, he died almost 75 years ago. We'll have that details for you when we come back.
A Kentucky man killed in World War II finally returned home. Navy ensign Lewis Bailey Pride Jr. was killed in the attack on Pearl Harbor. His remains weren't identified until this month. They were flown to Nashville today, and then he was escorted back home to Madisonville, Kentucky. Residents showed up along the route with American flags. He'll be laid to rest tomorrow. Now here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News at 10. They're calling it the Battle of the Brews, how one beer fest is raising money to help others.
And high school students across Missouri are getting a life-saving addition to their curriculum. See you tonight at 10 o'clock.
And here's a quick recap of your weather as we head into your Father's Day weekend. Next week, and we certainly do need it. We're almost 9 inches behind for 2016.
Yes.
So, yikes, everyone's yards are going to be feeling a little bit different lately.
Although I will say I will take the sunshine and get rid of the humidity for Father's Day. We want to say thank you to all the fathers out there.
For sure.
Somebody grilled them a steak for once instead of them.
Oh, that's true.
My brother actually is grilling for my dad this weekend. I don't think he's ever grilled before, so we'll see how that goes.
On air, online, on Facebook, on Twitter, on the News app, and the Weather app. KOMU 8 News. Coverage you can count on.